Welcome back, everybody. This is episode 3. We've done this 3 weeks in a row. That's right. This is a full-time job now. Welcome back to Obsessed and Unimpressed. As you can tell, I remembered the name this time.
Yes, thank you.
Um, yeah, I did. I did.
Thank you.
Um,
Thank you, Boston.
I guess I'll do this a few more episodes just to make sure everyone's up to speed. But this is a show that was years in the making. Years in the making. But my name is Boston. This is Josh, and this is I guess, movie critiquing, reviewing show that we have. And the concept is that I am obsessed with films, and I have been for quite some time, and Josh is not. And
A little unimpressed. Just a little.
a little, just a little bit,
Just
just
a
a little
little.
bit,
Just a
but
little bit.
a little while ago, me and Josh got together, and I decided that it would be my burden to show him all the films that I have come to love over the years, and
Right.
I come to really appreciate. Growing up with somebody, my father, that loves films, but that's kind of it. So we made this huge list, and it's here. It keeps
Yes.
going up. The
It
chairs,
keeps
the
getting
chairs from
bigger.
the chair's from 2011, but
Oh.
yeah, it's an old chair. But uh, Josh has a huge list, and he gets to pick a one film a week to
Yep.
watch and then review on this podcast. And this week, the film that he has picked is The Cabin in the Woods. And I might mistake it for A
The.
Cabin in the Woods, but it is The Cabin in the Woods from 2011, directed by Goddard,
Oh.
who, funny enough, hasn't done much. He was a writer for The Martian with Matt Damon a couple years ago, and he did Bad Times at El Royale, which is an okay film, a very strange film, but definitely a Drew Goddard film at the heart of it. This movie is starring Chris Hemsworth, Kristen Connolly, and Richard Jenkins, with Sigourney Weaver making a
I
quick
knew it
cameo.
was Sigourney Weaver. I didn't. I
At
never
the end of
looked
it,
at.
yeah,
I decided not to look at anything about all of these movies that we've done, and I look at. I'm
right.
like, that has to be her, right?
It's Sigourney Weaver. It's Sigourney Weaver. Who is a hilariously welcoming cameo in the film. I
Yes.
love her
I thought it
to
was pretty
death.
funny.
She's amazing. But this is a horror comedy, as you would say. So kind of drifting away from what we've done the last few episodes with
Yes. Last two were a little more
dramas,
serious.
little serious movies. Today we're doing The Cabin in the Woods, which is one of my favorite horror movies. And you're gonna hear that it's one of my favorite something with everything that
And
we've
just about
watched.
everything that we do. Yeah.
And just better because it's a list that I've compiled of
Yes.
movies that I love that Josh hasn't seen. But this
Exactly.
is one of my favorite horror comedies. It's a very fun movie, a very enjoyable movie, and a surprisingly good film, in my opinion. But you don't want to hear it from me. You want to hear from Josh. What did you think about it, my friend?
I think that my snacks that I had with it were awesome. Speaking of snacks, I have the peanut
Speaking of snacks,
M&Ms.
we are
We
not sponsored. We just love them.
we do not sponsor. We just love them. So I'm
We
going
are not.
to
Please sponsor us, M&Ms.
pop one in there for a second. Ow.
Please. Are we popping?
Oh,
We taking
pop
we
one,
taking
baby.
M&M shots?
Yes.
And please ignore me. Josh, please
Yes.
take it away.
So
Take us away, buddy.
it was interesting. Um,
That's a brilliant description, Josh. Of that thing.
Thank
It
you.
is interesting.
They watch for my descriptions. Um,
Oh, I broke it.
well, basically, I thought that this movie was kind of confusing. Not really, but it had confusing moments.
Mhm.
Like, okay, opening.
Mhm.
I gotta remember the opening. Um,
It's a weird opening.
you know, it doesn't open
Another
with
one.
them. Does it open with them, or does it open with the government people?
Government people.
Okay.
because it
Oh,
sounds
that's
like
right.
it's an
It's
office
the
job.
two guys walking from point A to point
Yeah,
B to
and then
get the golf cart.
the logo is like, did you get like the scripts ready? Like it's hilarious. The way they show the logo is so funny.
Yeah, that was fun. That was a fun opening. So that
Mhm.
was, I thought, because like from the poster and the like screenshot on Prime that they have of it, it's just the kids, the college kids. So opening with the
Mhm.
government people, I was like, I don't know
Did I
what
pick
this
the
is
right film?
about. I have no idea what this is
Mhm.
about. And then we
Right.
get to Chrissy Boy and Sigourney Weaver and all them,
Oh,
and
what a
then
hottie.
and so we meet the characters. I love um coked up Shaggy. Like he
Oh,
is
it isn't
hilarious.
the best. The best.
He's
The
such a
the best.
classic group dynamic, but like it
Mhm.
works perfectly. It does work
Doesn't yeah, it's the
perfectly.
best.
Um I guess moving forward to when they get to the cabin,
Mhm.
um because it's all just basic like traveling to the cabin, the occasional cut to the
Like classic
government.
horror movie. Classic horror
Yes,
movie.
classic horror movie opening. Got to get to the cabin. The bird hitting the barrier. I was like, okay, this is a government controlled environment then. Sounds
Yeah,
good.
yeah. This is something. Yeah.
And cuz I was like, why is this government involved? I don't get it. But then I'm like, all right,
Right.
they're being set up somehow. Um
Mhm.
so let's see. The the first basement scene where they go into the basement and find like all the
Mhm.
objects
Mhm. Mhm.
threw me through such a loop cuz
Mhm.
I was like, okay, everybody's enthralled by seriously different things. What is happening?
Mhm.
Um,
Yeah.
and why they were enthralled, no idea. Like all of a sudden, they just shifted characters. Like
Mhm.
very jarring. Like they just did not. They were going down there for a dare, and then all of them, just one of them, went down there for a dare, and then now all of them are down there staring at an object. Um,
Mhm.
little jarring, but I thought like the movie explains it perfectly fine, so I don't care. Um, the a little on the nose with don't speak the Latin and then the zombies are
Mhm.
rising. Um a little on the nose, little on the nose.
Just a little bit.
The and once they rise and once they realize once it cuts back to the government and everybody like the maintenance team winning the bet, I was like, okay, this is a game
Mm.
for the government. This is a game or an
Right.
experiment that they have to run yearly because clearly
Mhm.
people know how to do this. People have done this. The people that work there have done this for a
Right.
while. So this is a game that they're playing.
Mhm.
Um almost like Squid Game, like it's a game
Yeah. Yeah.
that they're
Very
playing
similar.
for some rich bourgeoisie behind the scenes.
Mhm.
Um Zombies come, then they leave. They leave the cabin. They do their thing out there, and then it's like, oh, the comment of how they can, the government can like control what happens, but like in the end, it's fate was like really weird because it's
Mhm.
like, oh, I thought this was government controlled.
Right.
Why is fate involved if this is a government controlled experiment or game or whatever?
Right.
Um, so they do their thing. The chick dies. Oh my god, the freaking um bear trap on a chain.
Oh,
Crazy. Like
crazy.
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 I like the horror movies that like make me go, "Oh. Oh."
Yeah. 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 Those are awesome.
Yes,
Those are great.
that was really cool. I like that. That's probably my favorite one out of all of them. But she dies, Chris escapes, but we don't know
He
Chris
gone.
escapes. Um,
Yeah, we
but
assume Chris is dead.
but then like the government people walk over to like the wooden lever or whatever, the door with
Mm-hmm.
the lever, and then it breaks the glass and the blood drops into like the stone thing
Mm-hmm.
for her because she died or whatever. I
Right,
was
and you're like,
like,
whoa,
I'm like,
there's something else going
what in the world am I
on.
watching?
Right,
What is happening?
right.
Um, so let's try to speed this up just a little bit.
We're good. We're good. There's no set time here.
Yeah, but I feel like I'm taking a long time. So, um,
No, 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 no,
okay,
no.
okay,
You're
okay,
good.
okay. Back to the cabin.
Mm-hmm.
Marty, the the voice that they were trying to use on Marty or
Mm-hmm.
whatever to go outside or whatever.
To split up.
Yes. No. No, Chris hasn't come
No.
back yet.
Right, 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 right.
Marty, the voice on Marty, I thought that was funny that the way they did it because he's high as a kite reading the
Yeah,
goldfish
he is.
book
Yeah, yeah,
and
yeah, 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 yeah.
and
Go
then it ends
outside.
off with him just eventually he decides I'm gonna go on a walk. I'm like, "Oh
Yeah,
my god, that's
it's so good.
it's
I love it.
hilarious." So
Stony
he goes
Shaggy, baby.
outside, takes a piss or whatever. I don't know what the hell he's doing outside. But
Right, right.
eventually Chris comes running back, blood all over him, yanks him inside. Um,
Mm-hmm.
they go inside. Um, he says to stick together, but then the government's like, no,
Oh,
split
this
up.
isn't good. We gotta,
Yeah, like oh no, we gotta
we
split them
gotta.
up. So they released like a pheromone mist or whatever to get them to split
Mm-hmm.
up. Thought that was funny that like
Is that great?
everything is rigged with something.
Yeah.
Um,
Mm-hmm.
so they split up, and for some reason they do. Like I don't know, like they just all said yes except for Marty because Marty's just like, what is going?
Are you
What?
serious?
Yeah, yeah. Um, and Marty does make a remark earlier on in the first movie on the way to the cabin that like
Mm-hmm.
about how they're going away off the grid away from the government and how something about
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
civilization needs to crack or break or something like that.
Yeah, it's the
It
best.
was funny. Like I didn't like it at that in that moment. I was like, this is stupid, but okay. Like stupid classic like conspiratist weed smoker guy. But
Mm.
turns out to be right. So that thought that was funny.
Turns out. Yeah.
Um Marty finds the camera. I thought that was
Mm.
hilarious. Marty finds the camera
Hilarious.
because he's just like,
Hilarious. He's still high.
what?
He has no idea what's going on. He has
Uh,
no idea what's going on.
no idea. But then he gets pulled away from the Zomboni. Um,
Mm-hmm.
so I was like, oh, he's my favorite character, and now he's dead. Great.
Mm-hmm.
So that was great. The Chris. No, we don't go back to Chris. It's the chick and the other guy. Um,
It's funny how you've gone more in depth about this film than the other two that are,
because
in
okay,
my
because
opinion,
like
are better.
I do
This
like
is so
this
funny.
film. I do like this film a
Mhm.
lot. Just disclaimer, I like
That makes me
it.
that makes me happy that you like this film.
Yes. You go watch the last episode. Uh, um,
Or don't do that.
or don't. It's yeah. But go check in the other guy. They go back into their rooms, which had a two-way mirror in it earlier in the
Mhm.
movie. I don't understand why the two-way mirror existed. I don't get it. Does not make any
Yeah.
sense to me at all. Um,
Right.
Still doesn't. Even after even like just end of the movie, I don't understand the two-way mirror. But they the zombies attack the chick and the dude. There's like a trap door that they go down underneath that's empty.
Mhm.
Um the zombie comes in, tries to attack them. And again, the freaking broken bear trap on the chain is
Yep.
one of the gnarliest murder weapons ever. Like
It's so cool. It's
it,
one of the sickest
it's
weapons I've
cool,
ever seen.
but like, oh my
For a
gosh,
horror film, it's cool.
it's cool, but like so just gnarly. Um,
Yeah,
so
it's the best.
so there that is. The bear trap comes in. He picks up the dude with it, like starts to like
Mm.
drag him up with it, which is like again, it's like ah
It's like, jeez.
yeah. Um, and then all of a sudden, she just has the courage to kill him, which I don't. Was that
Mm.
the government that did that?
They killed him?
No, the government that like misted her to have courage to kill the zombie, or was that just her own accord?
I don't remember. I don't remember. I think it was
Okay.
on record, if I can remember.
Okay. So she kills the zombie. They're fine. Chris pops up out of like a side door or whatever that drags them out through the original basement. They
Mm.
they start to leave. Um, so they're leaving. They're on the way. They're like, "Oh my gosh, what's going on?" Blah blah blah. They're just talking it out because they're like, it's like beyond them how this has happened,
Mm-hmm.
as most horror movies go. But
As most horror movies go.
yes, they're beyond themselves. They start making their way back, and then the government people are like, "Oh, we need to close the tunnel or whatever." Can't close the
Yeah, I
tunnel.
forgot to close the tunnel.
Can't close the tunnel because it's an electrical problem, and they didn't get an order or something like that. So it's a last minute thing. Like they do end up closing the tunnel by like blowing up something at the top that drops down the rocks or whatever. Um,
Mm.
so they're like, "Oh no, we don't know what to do." But then they're like, "You know what? We have a motorcycle on the back of this RV that we're driving. Let's jump the cavern. The
Yeah.
same cavern that has the barrier. But they don't know that there's a barrier. Um, so Chris tries to jump it. He smacks into the wall barrier.
And
He dies.
there goes Chris.
And there goes Chris into a
He was inflating the budget.
million mile cavern deep or whatever.
Gone.
He gone. So they start driving back, and because this dude likes this chick, he's just like, "No, we're gonna find a way out. It's okay. Don't even worry about it. Like, we don't need to think about this right now. We're gonna just keep on driving until we find a way." And guess what? A zombie was in the RV, and he stabs him
In the
through
RV.
the throat, dude. That was like crazy.
Yeah,
Brutal.
brutal.
Um,
The deaths are hilarious in that.
yes, like the deaths are like, every time. There was no holding back on the deaths. It was just, oh gosh.
Which I love. I love that. I love that.
Yes. So he gets stabbed. Nobody's driving the RV now. It jumps off into like a lake area.
Mhm.
And the government people start celebrating because they're like, "You know what? We've done our job. This is what we were here to do. This is what
We
we're
did it.
doing.
We did it.
Boom, like we've done it." And something that they said was, the government people said, because there was like some dude that was new there or something,
Yeah. The
was
security guard.
the security guard guy. They said something about the one of them, a specific one, has to die last in order for the ritual to be
Well, it's
complete.
optional. The
Or yes,
the
has to die
version-
last or survives, but only that specific one for
Yeah.
a specific ritual to be complete.
Mhm.
Which
Yeah, the version has to be last.
yes,
No matter what.
the virgin,
Which
yes.
is so funny.
Yes, it's the virgin, of course.
Right.
But then like I don't remember if it was here in the movie or earlier in the movie, but like you saw other monitors in the government building that they were operating in were other horrors and like what's the word I'm looking for? Like
Governments.
like no, like no other horrors, unexplainable things happening in other countries,
Hmm. Right.
and it's like, wow, they're sending out all these like demonic demon like things out into the world everywhere. Like, what could possibly be going on? But back to our situation here that's being filmed. Um,
Hmm.
the girl get the RV goes into a lake. The girl comes out of the lake, survives, and is just laying on a dock that they were at earlier. Actually, um, laying on the dock, and the zombie that she tried to kill comes back to get her, and he's
Hmm.
so now the government people are even celebrating even more. They're like, you know what? It's a win-win. We got everybody in order, and like the ritual's gonna be complete. It's great.
Hmm.
But
But.
they get a phone call from the red phone. Everybody
Hmm.
knows in the government, if you get a phone call from the red phone, that's a bad thing.
Yep.
So get a phone call from the red phone, and he's like freaking out, and he's saying like, yeah, I'm sure that that's what we did. Like, yes, it's like it's all good. Like, no, I'm not questioning your judgment, but like that is what we did. But turns out
Turns
my
out.
boy Marty
Turns out.
survived. He is alive.
Stoner Shaggy
Stoner
made it.
Shaggy has survived, and that was when I knew that this movie was good.
He did it.
That is
He
how I
did
knew that this was a good movie.
it. Hmm.
Um,
Hmm. Well, then it's like it's hilarious to watch them be like, "Oh no, like we can't let her die. She can't die yet."
yes, and now they're
Like
like,
she
oh
is
crap.
so funny.
It turned from complete celebration to oh crap, real
Yeah.
fast. Um, but so Shaggy survives. He pulls. Like, they start running away, and they go into like this like shed or like this coffin, I believe it was, or something like that. And they like
Yeah.
went through this little hallway into this area where like this like room that shouldn't exist, basically. And
Hmm.
and Marty's like, oh, I figured it out. Like, it's the government. They're doing this to us, and we're gonna go. We got to go talk to them. This underneath us is an elevator. They sent up these monsters to kill us and stuff like that. So we're gonna go down this elevator and go find them because it's the only way
Hmm.
out. So they go down.
Right.
Um, Government people are freaking out because they can't find them. They find them, and they call their elevator down to like wherever the government people live or operate. So they do. Like, this I wrote down that this feels like an SCP breach or something. That's what this feels like the entire time, like an
Yeah.
SCP breach. Um,
It really is supposed to though. It's supposed to be like that.
yeah, so it does a really good job with it. They go down, they do their thing. They're like, where are we? They're doing it. They're like the
Yeah, they're amazed.
yeah, they're like, where are we? What the heck? And when they get
It's so
called
good.
down to the place, they're like passing all these other mythical creatures,
Monsters.
monsters,
It's
all that
oh, it's
stuff.
so cool.
I was like, whoa, okay. There's so many
Yeah,
things
yeah.
going on here. Like, wow, they really are controlling something, you know?
Mhm.
Um,
Right.
so I get to like this waiting room area, like where like a
Mhm.
bunch of elevators come down or whatever. Um, they walk out and they start hearing like footsteps. Or no, they meet like the guy at the elevator ready for them. They take him down and take his gun. Um, and then they have a gun and a knife, I believe. Um, but then they walk out and they're like looking around, and then this lady's voice starts talking. I don't know what the heck she said, but she starts
Yeah,
talking,
yeah.
and then they start hearing a bunch of footsteps. So then they go hide in this like room, and then in this control room, very conveniently, there is a big red button that calls everybody down, all the monsters that they passed down into that room that they were in. Very conveniently,
So,
might I add, but
it's so good.
it's a cheesy horror movie, so it's
Love it.
I can't
Love
be
it.
that
I
upset with
love it
it.
so much.
Can't be upset with that.
I love it so much. Can't
Um,
be. It's
so
impossible to
they
be.
press they press the big red button, and they watch
The
before
big red
their
button.
eyes the most CGI blood I've ever seen in my life.
The best part of
It's
it.
so much blood, so much blood. If you guys do not like blood, do not watch this movie because there is so
It's
much
not
CGI
for the
blood.
faint of heart. Mm-mm.
Um, but then like the monsters start attacking not only the people that they sent down to go get them, but like they start going out into the whole facility. They start killing everybody.
Mm-hmm.
They're killing everybody, and so it's like a complete SCP breach. Everybody's dying. Everything's going to crap. They
Yeah. Yeah.
eventually
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
they eventually get out of the building or like out of the little room that they're in and like start like making their way somewhere. Um, they eventually find the room where they took the blood of the other ones that died and put them in
Mhm.
like the stone shapes or whatever. And then
And then who shows up?
the
Who
lady
shows
voice,
up, boy?
the lady
Dude,
voice.
the goat,
Yes,
Sigourney Weaver, baby, shows
yes,
up, crushes it.
yes.
Immediately, you're like, oh, this is an A tier film.
Like what? How'd they get this lady in?
Sigourney Weaver's here.
But none
Um,
other the lady voice is Sigourney Weaver.
yes,
So she shows up.
sir.
She starts talking to them,
The best.
and apparently, this whole
Mhm.
thing, this whole shenanigans, were because they have to kill a certain amount of people
Mhm.
in a certain scenario in order to please demigods that have existed
Mhm.
on Earth long before time, like long before us humans. And
Mhm.
they have to give them a sacrifice in a specific order in order for the gods not to re-reign the Earth. And that's where I lost it. That's where I
What
gave
do you
up.
mean?
Nope, that's where I gave up. That is such a dumb conclusion to
It's a
everything that just happened.
it's a cheesy horror film. What are you
It's
expecting?
so dumb though.
So
It's like,
so
oh my
hold on,
god,
hold on.
really? Really?
So hold on. So
Spoiler
part
alert,
of the
the
reason why
gods the
okay,
gods win. They don't die. The
the
gods
gods win.
win.
Yeah,
Which is like a
very
man.
funny.
But
It's like he has to die.
oh yeah, and
She's like,
they
he's like,
there's a little
no.
mini fight scene where where they're met with a decision of either the chick that has the gun shoots him or doesn't shoot him. She was going to, but then conveniently a monster showed up.
Mm,
Um,
very convenient.
it's this whole movie. A lot of this movie is based off of convenience. But that's horror as a whole nowadays. Like most horror movies in
Yeah,
the past 10, 15 years are convenient placements.
yeah, you could say that.
But yeah,
Okay,
as
one of the
soon as I figured out that there was demigods living underneath the earth that we have suppressed by sacrificing X amount of people in a certain way to keep down, the movie lost me. I gave up.
all right,
I gave up.
all right. So I don't know. One of the reasons I love that movie is because you could fit this scenario of like the government setting it up in almost any horror movie ever, and it fits
Yeah.
and it works.
Yeah.
Which is I've done it with every horror movie since I've watched that movie, and it makes it 10 times funnier. To imagine there's guys in the background like panicking. That's
Yeah.
not going exactly to plan. It's so funny to me. And then like just to play on uh the like the ritual of like every horror movie like the handsome like couple like one of them dies first and then
Mhm.
the loner dies and like the virgin girl is like either gonna die or she's gonna live. It's like every horror movie like Texas Chainsaw like every horror movie does something like that,
Does
like
that same
Halloween,
script, you know?
like Friday the 13th. All those guys do something like that, and it's so funny to me that they were like, yeah, it's because it's a ritual to appease
It is
gods.
funny that like
And
they take that concept and say, you know what? it's a ritual because it happens so
There's
dang
a
much.
meaning. There's a reason why every horror movie is exactly the same.
Yeah, I get it,
It's very funny.
but like it jumps from the government controlling the scenario to
I don't think it's ever intended to be. I think it's
demigods.
intended to. It's like, okay, why is the government doing this? Because that's the question that you start asking.
Yeah, I mean, that's fair, but like at the same time, it jumps from it jumps from the government controlling a scenario to a, a controlled scenario to please demigods. Like I in my eyes, that's like a really big story jump that does not get told properly. I feel like it's super elusive up until the very end, where it lays
Mm,
all of its cards out on the table right at the end without showing hardly anything on what it actually is. So
right.
in my eyes, it's just like that's just kind of it's kind of a cop out to tell you what the story is. It's not. I'm not okay. Okay, it was I over exaggerated.
I'm just gonna say your critiques are infuriating. They
um.
make me so upset because it's like that's the problem you have with.
Okay, I really it didn't lose me at the end.
There's
I
a
was
ton
over
of
exaggerating. I was over
there's a ton of
exaggerating.
problems that would make sense if you were like it's cheesy. I'd be like, yeah, yeah, that's the point.
Yeah,
You know,
I
I
don't care
don't
about the
like. I'm not
cheesiness. That's
disputing.
the gist with most horror movies. What I care about is the fact that like
It's supposed to be over the top and crazy. That's the whole point of the
yes,
film.
no, but it is, but I just they could have just done it a better way. I feel like they could have at least figured out how to tell the viewer better that there was a much bigger purpose behind this than it led on to be. Cuz like it's
That's a pretty big purpose. So demigods are gonna like
so
rule the earth
elusive.
if we don't do it. That's a
But
big
like
purpose.
it's so elusive, so elusive, all the way up until the last 10 minutes of the movie. Like it's just super elusive until the very end, where then
Right.
everything because for as much as you know, there's
Mhm.
weird there's a weird lever that drops blood into stones. So you know that there's something, but you literally have no idea what it could possibly be. Nothing.
Right.
No idea
Right.
what that could
You have no
possibly
clue. You have no
even
clue.
be
You have
used
no
for.
clue.
All the way up until the last 10 minutes. That's why I'm like, okay, like
Yeah. Yeah.
it's just like wow, okay, like that's a lot to try to digest in 10 minutes. Like
Right.
it's just a lot to take in. Right at the end. And not
All
like
right.
not like for me to watch play out for the next 30 minutes. For
Mhm.
like for the next 5-10 minutes, you have to think about the whole reason why they're doing this is to please demigods to not rule the earth. Okay. That's what you have to think
Very
about.
funny. That's not funny to you?
It is.
Because they made because it's also like they're trying to rule the earth, but they made it into like a 9 to 5 job. Like it's there's offices is so funny.
Yeah, it's pretty funny.
That they're like, oh yeah, we're trying to keep the demigods away, but you know, could you staple this for me? It's so funny. It's funny, but
I see why that's
no,
funny.
I can't dog you too bad. It's not, you know, it's not supposed to be like a super serious film. It's a very
No.
fun film, which
No,
is why I love it.
and it is. Like it is fun.
It
But
I love that film.
my job here is to point out its flaws because
Yeah,
I
yeah,
see its
yeah.
flaws.
I don't think it's your job. If you love it, you love it. You know,
But I
you
don't.
could praise it. You could
But I don't
all
love
right.
it.
Well,
I don't love it.
I know I loved it. I loved it. I loved it. There's not much I could say of at least to the extent of like Training Day and A Few Good Men that we've gone over.
Mm-hmm.
But I definitely love the unseriousness of it. I love how it
It's
plays into the like expectations of like what's a horror movie, and
yeah.
it hits all of the stereotypes of each one, which is so funny. I thought the basement scene is hilarious. That they're all like betting on what they're gonna pick is
Yeah.
gonna kill
Oh yeah,
them.
they bet on that
It's
too. I
so
forgot to
funny.
say that. Yeah.
It's so funny. They have like a whiteboard, and if you pause it and you read it and you love horror movies, there's a bunch of little like Easter eggs of like different monsters. They have Deadites from Evil Dead on there, Xenomorphs from Alien, like a ton of stuff
Oh
that you're
really?
like, oh, yeah, yeah.
Interesting.
Watch it again, like pause at the whiteboard and read. Like if you look up all those names, there's something that like is from like a movie or something. It's hilarious. It's very funny. But
Um, I do think that it's a fun movie, but
yeah,
but
for
not
sure, for
not
sure.
like a not like a super good movie. Like
No, it's
that.
not supposed to be. It's
No,
supposed to
it's
be just like a
not a good
put it
movie,
on,
but it's
end the
fun.
day. Let me laugh at the end of the day. It's like that kind of
Yes,
movie,
it's
you
a
know.
yeah.
It's not. It's not like I need to lock in and pay attention here. It's like let me have fun.
I
Let
mean,
me have
my
fun.
personal, if I want to watch a movie to have fun at the end of the day, is Civil War, but that's just me.
Oh, mine's Ford versus Ferrari.
That's a good one.
That's a fun. That's a fun film.
I
That is a
have
fun film.
seen that one, and I like it a
Yeah, I know you
lot.
have.
Yes.
I was honestly, I was like, dang, I want to talk about that one. But that's my fun film. I think is Ford versus Ferrari.
That's a good one.
Um. Uh. So, where
So,
do you put this one at our tier list
our
that
tier
we worked so
list
hard on?
that we still can't make it work for the viewers
And
other
it
than post.
3 weeks into it, we haven't figured it out.
Nope.
We haven't figured it out.
Can't
3 weeks.
can't can't figure it out, won't figure it
We
out. I
will.
give up.
We will figure it out
Oh,
though.
okay.
And there is going to be a little. You'll see it, so
Yes.
you don't have to
I'm
just
going to
hear
put
me talking about it.
The Cabin in the Woods at
A,
C.
B, C, D, or F.
C.
That's a D.
C.
A C.
C.
C. Okay. You know what? I'm putting it at a C as well. I'm putting it as a C film. I think it's a very
Okay.
fun film, but it's not exactly top tier for me, and I definitely
Right.
enjoy it. But it's gonna be a
Okay.
C. It's gonna be a C for me.
Yeah.
So that's our first real agreement. That's fun.
That's
That's
fun.
fun.
That's fun.
I always love
Oh.
those. I always love those. I always love those.
Ooh.
Ooh.
An agreement. Wow.
Um. Good. So we don't really have to. I'm. It's a middle of the road. Like it's very
Yeah.
hard to hate it.
It's
Type film.
yeah.
It's very hard to hate it.
Don't
Like you
don't
don't
love it.
need
Don't
like
hate
a.
it. It's just one of those
Yep.
things where it's like, yeah, I mean, like
It's like, hey,
it's cool and all.
if you hadn't seen it before and you love horror movies, it's a horror movie I highly recommend.
Yeah, like if you're definitely into horror, give it a watch because it's like
And it is
it does
definitely
make fun
funny
of
if you know
the
nothing about it.
yes, and also
If
if
you
you
know
know
nothing
nothing,
about
like
it and you just see the poster where it looks like as serious
super
of a horror
serious
movie you could
horror.
imagine,
Yeah,
and then you watch it, you're like, what am I watching?
yeah, exactly.
And then
Like
like slowly you piece it.
it's
It's
fun.
beautiful.
It's fun.
The marketing on it was beautiful. I loved it.
Hmm.
But I guess C's Cabin in the Woods is the Cabin in
Cabin
the
in the
Woods
Woods,
is a C.
the Cabin of the
Is a
Woods.
C film. The Cabin
Hmm.
in the Woods. It is a C film. But
Yeah.
I think we both love it. So
Yes, it's
um,
fun. I'll give it that it's fun. Not
it's
super
fun.
into it,
It's
but
very
it's
fun.
fun.
Yeah, for sure.
For sure, for sure.
For sure. But that's all I have. I really this isn't a movie that you can like really go into like
Yeah.
detail wise. It's more
You
of
did
like
some
a
details in the opener. But that's about it. Like that's all you could really do.
yeah, that's about it. It's not there's not much about it that it's gonna be like, oh, I didn't know that. Like it's supposed to be like a film that you enjoy, regardless of how much you know about it. It's like hey, like if you love horror movies, this is something that kind of makes fun of them.
Yep.
That I think makes horror movies more fun after you've seen that film, because then you're like, oh, what would have if this scenario played out like a Cabin in the Woods? How would it play out? And
Mhm.
it makes horror movies a lot more fun to go through and kind of watch. But no, I loved it. I absolutely love it, and that's why it's on the list.
That's why it's on the list, bro.
That is why it's on the list. But that's all I got on it. If unless you have something else you're gonna add to it,
Um
that's all I have.
love coked up Shaggy. Loved him.
Love Coked Up Shaggy.
Favorite
We love
character.
Stoner Shaggy. Favorite goated character is Stony Shaggy.
Yes.
Just on high off his balls, stat Shaggy. That is I think that's what this podcast is all about. Truly, I
Yes.
think that's what we were aiming for. Is all this.
I couldn't agree more.
But that's why we're best friends. But thank you guys for listening again.
Mhm.
We still, I guess, haven't figured out where this is going to be playing from, but
No idea.
please like, comment, subscribe. We definitely want to keep hearing from you guys about what movies you would like us to watch, what you think about The Cabin in the Woods, anything like that. We'd love to hear about it.
Yes,
But
yes.
I think that's it for this one. Thank you guys for watching,
Mhm.
and be safe, y'all. Peace out. Peace out.